Hey everybody, welcome back to the Overwatch Project on YouTube, also at overwatchproject.com. This is a video I'm making how to escape the prison reincarnation matrix, part 2. It follows part 1. This one will be subtitled Love, Fear, and Guilt. The three pillars used to manipulate you to stay into this system. Now, I want to tell you something. This is a video I'm making, and I may not be able to make another video for some time. I don't know what will happen, but Hurricane Irma is coming, and I am one of the people in its path. So, right now I'm making this video. I'll upload it as soon as I'm done, and well, see you on the other side. This video will be in a new playlist. I'm going to start a playlist since I made part 1 and this is part 2, and I'm going to start building up a series of videos on basically how to escape the reincarnation, prison, matrix, Loosh farm, demiurge world, whatever you want to call it. It's obvious our reality is a deception. Some people want to call it a game, but if it's a game, it's one that sucks. Or maybe, who knows, maybe we created a game as spiritual beings, and then the AI of our game has trapped us, turned against us. There are many theories out there, many stories. I don't have all the details. I can just make deductions based on the totality of information that's available to me. But let's do that, shall we? Let me make a playlist right now so you'll know where to find it. This video will be inside of that playlist. Matter of fact, I will put my first video in it now. We'll create it right now. So we'll call it the How to Escape the Reincarnation Prison Matrix playlist. I really don't like this new YouTube redesign they did. I think it sucks. Create new playlist. Enter the name. Of course, it's public. Create. Okay, it should be there. So you can watch part 1. It'll be the first video, and this will be the second video. Now, when you look at all the totality of data of near-death experiences, including out-of-body experiences, UFO abduction phenomena, all kinds of psi and scientific phenomena, and also like psi phenomena, which is not considered scientific, but it's still has a lot of evidence behind it. When you look at the totality of information, and you see all the psychological things that go on with humans, then you can see that there is a pattern or a consistent thing that is used against us, and that is a manipulation based on so-called love, fear, and guilt. These are, I say so-called because we're socially engineered. These things are socially engineered against us. Now, like I said, there's a hurricane coming, right? Now I'm supposed to be afraid. And years ago, I would have been afraid. But I'm not afraid because I know that this is just a biological machine that I'm in right now, that I'm experiencing this reality with. And I know that eventually it's going to be shut off one way or another. And then once my spirit or my true non-physical self is released from my bio avatar, then I have an opportunity not to come back here. So I'm not afraid. Whatever happens, happens. What's amazing to me is watching the destruction, and just because I'm not afraid doesn't mean I don't empathize, and I'm not distressed, angered, and disturbed by all the destruction and suffering that people are going to be experiencing in this so-called reality. All these people that will have their homes destroyed, maybe even mine, and all the suffering, all the loosh harvesting that's going to go on today and tomorrow. And yet, how many millions of people will run off and pray to their so-called God, which is really like a demiurge? What kind of God would allow this to happen, to suffering, that unless that God was evil, right? The God of this world is a demiurge of some kind. This is terrible, especially when you realize that this is all kind of an illusion that we're having, right? So if you look at the work of Tom Campbell, which I mentioned in my last video, and other scientists, not just him, but I'm talking about a lot of people, Elon Musk, and other major scientists out there that are describing our reality as a simulation, as a similar to a virtual game that we would play in a PlayStation or Xbox or on a PC. This is because physics is our human minds are driven by our spirits. Whoever has a spirit. Of course, there are some people that I don't think have any. They're just biomachines, part of the system here. But there are people out there, and we are kind of unlimited, immortal beings trapped in a illusion of limitation. So people will figure it out. People will be. You cannot contain what we are totally. So we'll figure out that we're in a simulation. How we got here, well, that's up for debate. Simple empathy will tell you it's wrong and evil. Okay? I'm not even talking about morals, but if you empathize at all, which is why I don't get Tom Campbell's philosophy when he sees all this, and he doesn't seem to get the suffering. He calls it a game that we forgot we were playing. That's ridiculous. We forgot we were playing a game, or did we get trapped in something and we've been given amnesia, is more like it, and used as some kind of farm animal. Anyway, there is love, fear, and guilt. Now you see this everywhere, right? So you have the our reality illusion here, which for the most part uses fear as control, right? And fear is in chaos is the order of the day here. War, conflict, chaos, destruction from this hurricane now, for example. It's like 6:51 in the morning right now, and that thing should be on top of us later tonight. Anyway, fear, right? The news tries to keep you in fear. The so-called political movements out there try to keep you in fear. All the Hegelian dialectic that goes on, it's all about fear and chaos and conflict and division. And that is the predominant control in here, in this experience that we're having. But for the majority of the out-of-body experience, or I should say the near-death experience, it is this love thing that we get, right? So when we catalog and look at as many near-death experiences as possible, and there are so many now, but you can get this quote from people, right? Unconditional love. Right? If you search Endorf, they have this is a website, Near Death Experience Research Foundation, and they catalog basically just witness accounts of their near-death experiences. And for the most part, people on there are sincere, course, you have a couple of assholes out there. That's everywhere, but for the most part, people are sincere. So you have this quote, and you've seen interviews. If you look at interviews of people with near-death experiences, they'll describe this unconditional love. But if you look at the research of UFO researchers like John Mack and others, you can see that there are cases, and there was one video in particular, but I couldn't find it in time to make this video. I wanted to make this video before I lost internet and power. There's a video of John Mack, and he is talking about a UFO case where the woman was panicking, and the so-called alien or entity that was interacting with her put his appendage, hand, whatever it was, near her forehead, and it gave her a sensation of unconditional love. This was designed to, of course, calm her down, to be controllable. And you can look at the research of Carla Turner, somebody I've mentioned many times before in previous videos. She also mentions that in some of her lectures, that this is something that's used in the so-called alien abduction phenomena, which resembles, you could catalog it as or describe it as archons checking out their farm stock. People like do on a farm when they go out and inspect their stock. It almost seems like that is what the actions of these aliens, or so-called aliens, are doing. But if you look at unconditional love and just search for it, and you can find account after account of this so-called unconditional love. In UFO abduction phenomena, or in the OBERF, Out-of-Body Experience Research Foundation records, you can also find unconditional love, even with UFO cases. You can then find, of course, the minority of near-death experiences have this hellish, where they're using fear. And then, of course, you have your life review, where they use guilt, right? They show you and make you feel what other people were feeling when you hurt their feelings, or if you did something really bad. But and they might show you what you may have done in some previous life, as though you're supposed to have like this karmic debt. This is all bullshit, folks. All of it. Okay? This is what psychopaths use to control people with. Matter of fact, here's a dating a sociopath site, which literally describes the same things being used by sociopaths to control their victims. And it's sort of, you can sort of draw a relation with what's being said here about this with the description that we get from these people who are in near-death experiences, in out-of-body experiences, in UFO abduction cases, and etc. What you have is a system of control: love, fear, and guilt. Religions use it, of course. If you're a Catholic, you know exactly what I'm talking about. This is all about control. So the thing is, stop feeling or being controlled by fear. Don't let it control you. You can't be destroyed, first of all. So what are you afraid of? You're going to lose your personal or material belongings. If you unattach yourself from these things, you can still like them. I like the things I have, but I understand that no matter what, I'm just delaying the inevitable. Everything here breaks down, everything here decays, everything here dies. That's all part of this simulation that we're in. So, whether it dies sooner or later is kind of irrelevant to me. I've become unattached to it. I'm no longer able to be controlled by fear. Guilt is something that can be put into you even at a subconscious level. So that's kind of deeper to route out, because you can feel a false guilt over things you have no control over. If you watch television sci-fi shows like Dark Matter or the NBC show Blind Spot, a couple other shows and stories where people are dealing with part of the plot involves amnesia. You can see how karma becomes ridiculous when amnesia is involved. Once you get wiped, you're no longer that other person. You're no longer what the circumstances of that person that did whatever they did because of their environment. And you can see how people can be reprogrammed easily when they have amnesia. We get reincarnated with amnesia. We die with amnesia because we can't remember right away who we are. Then we get interrupted by the so-called angels and deities and relatives and pets and etc. who want to control us. And then, guilt is false. Of course, if you're an empathetic, if you have empathy, if you have, you are internally guided to want to be good, especially, you are susceptible to this false guilt because you don't want to hurt other people. I don't want to cause pain. I don't want to hurt. I want to help. So this can be used against you because you can't do everything right here, and you're subjected to all kinds of emotions, and you can get angry, etc. And even if you're trying to do your best, you're going to mess up because your biological avatar has a brain, and that brain is not who you are, right? It affects what you do. So guilt. Now, the love thing, this so-called unconditional love, is more like a narcotic than anything, right? These entities that we meet in the near-death experience, and that light that they manipulate us with, this so-called love is not love. First of all, unconditional love. How many times have you heard somebody in a near-death experience interview use that phrase? It was unconditional love. Oh my gosh, it was so total. It was amazing. But, if you try to define unconditional love, let's see what the definition is. Oh wow, did I? Okay. Unconditional love. Where should I pick? Let's just do Webster's, shall we? Unconditional. Not conditional or limited. Unconditional surrender. Unconditional love. Unconditional love. Oh, I felt unconditional love. It was so total. It's all about love. Or as Tom Campbell would say, like an ass, it's all about our love choices. Okay. First of all, it's unconditional love, but hey, you have to go back and finish your mission. It's unconditional love, but hey, you can't go here, or you have to let go, or you have to do this. It's unconditional love, and then comes the conditions. This euphoria, whatever it is that they use against us, is not unconditional love. It's what people describe as a euphoria that they've never sensed before. Even like drug addicts who've had near-death experiences, if you listen to some of their interviews and they describe this euphoria of this so-called unconditional love, they will say that it beats anything they've ever done as far as like drugs or anything, because just like when people go into near-death experiences and they say they see colors that they've never seen before, and you can also perceive more than your senses do here. Your vision can see things that you can't see here. Some people believe that you can't be lied to with telepathy. This is something you hear a lot from the New Age gurus or people like Tom Campbell or others, not John Mack, but others. When you're listening to some of their descriptions of the afterlife. But in fact, if you look at the evidence and data of what's been done to people, apparently We are just naive. We are just not talented enough with our telepathy when we're out of body, because we are being lied to. And this unconditional love is hardly love, and it's certainly not unconditional. So it is a lie. We have to recognize this. Euphoria will be used against us, and we have to overcome it. Knowledge is the key to getting out of here. Being prepared mentally when you're finally out of your body for the last time, and being prepared with your spirit mind to understand, to realize that the bullshit trap that you're in, to move beyond this strange maze or matrix that we're caught up in. This unconditional love is probably the most common thing used against us, and it is not. When people describe it, it's more like some kind of feeling of euphoria that is beyond words to describe, and this may be tough to overcome. But I believe that with intention, with mindset, being a proper mindset, you can deflect this stuff. You can shield yourself with this stuff, or you can move yourself away from these beings or this maze, so that you can then recover your total memories of your immortal mind, and then move beyond. There's probably an omniverse out there in reality, of all kinds of better places to be than here. So that's the goal. And this covers love, fear, and guilt. These pillars of control sometimes are used in combination with each other. They're not standalone. There's other things involved, including deception. But you can have a case like Howard Storm's near-death experience. I've mentioned him many times before. It starts off with fear, ends up with the so-called euphoria, unconditional love thing, and then, of course, now he's no longer an atheist, and he's a minister, and thinks he knows everything about the afterlife. So, so that's it. It's like, I think that kind of covers it. I hope I'll be able to do another video soon. It depends on everything that happens later today and tonight and tomorrow. I don't expect to, who knows, may not even have internet access. Don't know. I am as prepared as possible. We'll see what happens. So I'll put this in a playlist. We'll start building a slow discussion here about how to, when you finally go, how to get out of here. I have several ideas for my next video for this, and of course I have some other things I want to do videos about. I wish I could get into them now, but I made this, so that's good enough for now. Let's call it a day. One more thing. BitChute is this alternative, decentralized thing for YouTube that's similar to YouTube. I've discovered it, and you should check it out, bitchute.com. I did create an account on here. I might mirror some of my videos on here. This is one option. It's seems to be uncensored, just in case, because we all know what YouTube's trying to do, and let's see what happens. So, okay, that's it for now. I'll talk to you guys on the other side of this crap. This, it's unconditional love from God. Oh, there's a hurricane coming. Everything's going to be destroyed. Death, destruction. There are wars. There's famine. There's poverty. There's suffering. Yeah, it's the God of love. Okay, see you folks. Bye.